Gold Trail School District lies on the traditional territory of the Xtatliam, Inukjuatm, and Secwepemc people. And within those 3 nations are 19 Indigenous communities that we serve and support. And so we have a rich diversity to our communities that I think we seek to celebrate in our schools.
This is our first year as a K-12, so huge learning journey for us and what that looks like in working with kids right from when they enter the school system until the time they graduate and then move on to post-secondary. We have been on a shared journey as a school staff to look at our elective programming and our core programming to find ways to increase student engagement. The desire is to create authentic learning experiences for kids so that they understand that curriculum isn't compartmentalized into I'm only doing social studies, I'm only doing science. So the main focus has been through inquiry. So the teachers began with very sort of directed inquiries with a lot of student choices embedded into that, and then worked into self-selected inquiries.
So the first one was Who Am I?, where we kind of had it fairly structured. It was very prescribed. We told the students basically exactly what their project was going to look like, and they had little choice pieces in between.
We had some PowerPoints, and then we also had some really interesting family trees that some kids came up with. So I was just imagining how hopefully it was enriching their family life as well, because they had those conversations, and I had lots of parents phoning and asking what they needed for this, and the final presentation showed that, the care that they had for that part.
In the Where Am I project, we left it a little bit more open. So the students could choose really one major area to delve deep into, and we had some prescribed things at the beginning.
It was asking us to research where we live, and then our country to the continent, to like space and our galaxy.
I learned that there was places like geographic regions of Canada. I didn't know those existed.
So the open inquiry process is all about the students choosing a topic that they're passionate about. We had a whole range of topics that kind of came out, and they took so much pride in what they were doing.
For the free choice inquiry, I decided to do archery because that's something I'm really into. It was kind of like an archery 101 for beginners.
We chose to make cigar box guitars for our project. It was interesting, and we got to learn stuff that we didn't know about something that we really loved, and it was really cool.
Well, that was on my lumber project, so I was doing it on all kinds of like the mill, plywood, boards and stuff. But the barbecue was for charcoal, so I did a whole little separate section on that. Well, I did a lot of research on a lot of people do like these barrel barbecues and stuff, so I decided I'd do one of those. And then the principal got called to the side of the school because apparently there was some smoke coming from the side. And she came outside, and my barbecue was lit, and I was cooking burgers on it.
It's so much better to get them to focus on content that they are excited about. So if we introduce and then monitor the curricular competency that we're trying to get through, then they get to pick what content piece they put with that.
It's like a lot of freedom in what I'm choosing to learn, so I'm not just going by the books and learning what's in the books.
Well, the role of a teacher is a much more facilitator now. So we spend a lot more time doing one-on-one meetings with the kids so we can talk about their particular project.
Having so much open, free time for the middle school to be working together for 3 whole blocks out of a 5-block day is fantastic. And so they do spend a block in math, but then the other 2 blocks, they're working together. They can go in the shop if they want, they can go in the art room if they want. There's a lot of possibilities open to them. And they also have DPA in the morning in between all this, so it's really great to get out and get some physical activity, get their brain moving, and then kind of get them refocused again.
The teachers, they will help us, but sometimes they just let us go and do our thing. And there's a lot of Aboriginal support workers that help Aboriginal people like myself. So I like it. I like learning here a lot.
I think it's good. You have all the brains in the same room at the same time. You get a lot of ideas.
For this one we're working on, we had 3 choices, which was oil spills, water filters, and homelessness.
We had to research a lot about how the water gets filtered and what's in the water that you need to filter out.
My job was to look at what materials we're going to use, and then all of us are going to work on the design all together.
We're going to have 2 water tanks, and we're going to have a house with a slanted roof in Africa and Kenya. So when it rains, it'll go into the water tank, and there's a filter between the 2 pipes that connect the water tanks.
I think that they're really focusing on not just the local community, but also the country and the world with our new design project. with how can what you're making going to help other people. So it's really an empathetic design.
What we really want to see is a combination of research on a topic, prototyping, and a final product that is as professional as they can make it. Keeping in mind that we're hoping to prepare them for something real in life, they need to know how to research, read and write. So we don't want to leave behind those skills about reading and writing and editing. Those are pretty key. But also we want them to go through multiple iterations of the same design idea, then finally show off this beautiful final product.
So our project is for the homeless. We call it the peg because there's a pillow and a bag. And so basically they put it over their shoulder like this, and so they can carry all their stuff in the bag.
Eventually we want to put dividers in here, so like in one spot will be like their money and their personal items and their wallet, and then in the other side is like food and stuff that might spill, so like it kind of won't like get on all of their personal items that will wreck it.
We're trying to figure out how to make it waterproof for when it rains because we want to bring it to Vancouver, so we need to solve that problem too.
Traditionally, if you'd ask kids what they are learning, they would have named content or coverage. So they might say, I'm learning about the War of 1812. But what the students are naming now that they are learning is different. So they can name the skills that they are developing while they're learning, and that is something that I haven't heard kids name so directly before.
I think I've gotten better with creativity and group work. So that's helped a lot with like leadership and like talking. And
I'm better at presenting, like talking to people and showcasing my work.
I've definitely seen student engagement go up as we stress the curricular competencies. So I think if we just frame it differently and say, okay, well, these are the skills you are learning, students have a lot more positive outlook because they can see themselves taking those skills with them outside of K-12.
It's scary to plan assignments and projects and keep track of the curricular competencies, but the kids are enjoying not having to sit and listen to the traditional teacher-centered lectures that they used to get, and the projects that they've been producing, you can tell, are very from their heart.
Collaboration has been integral to the whole thing. When it came to the projects themselves and the program itself, almost every decision we've made, we've had to collaborate about. And that happens both informally during the school day, and lots of times we'll just stand at the back of the gym and chat over what's happening in the next day or two. But we also have some formal collaboration time out of the day, so we've taken a couple of afternoons and just spent the entire afternoon chatting over a particular project or problem or set of goals. We've also had the days with Dr. Schnellert from UBCO, where we collaborated as a team, and we did a lot of planning work in those days and kind of making of the program and of the projects.
The mentorship that's involved is phenomenal. New teachers are supported by experienced teachers. Experienced teachers are learning from new teachers. It really opens the door of teacher isolation and breaks that down and provides an atmosphere of trust in which teachers can examine what they're doing and work together to implement goals that they're trying to achieve with their kids.
I think it would have been very easy if they weren't being supported and guided, that they could have felt doubt every time they hit a bump. But I think knowing that they were grounded in good research and what was good for students and learning allowed them to persevere through some of those challenges.
And the connection really with UBCO has been very helpful for us in terms of community credibility. Because when you're shifting the curriculum, you know, parents really want to be reassured that there is some research behind the shift.
I found it interesting looking from a learner support perspective as far as engagement goes. So a lot of the students that I manage their cases, they're actually doing very well in the middle school model. You can't really see who is an exceptional learner and who's not. You just walk into the room, everyone's doing something.
In the next 5 years, it would be great to see every grade being included in the integrated studies. Right now, because the elementary school is here now, we get to see that they have a really good opportunity to do that in their classrooms because there's no set blocks for them. So our next real struggle is getting the grade 10s involved.
How do we integrate the work that we are doing now, which is student-driven, integrated content, into courses that have been highly compartmentalized over time? And ideally, we would continue the model into grade 10 and allow for potentially a humanities strand or multidisciplinary electives that teachers could team teach that would embed that within the grade 10 to 12 curriculum. The opportunity is there already. The draft curriculum is out. It's very similar. The teachers have the freedom to explore it, and we just have to provide the structure to allow them to do that.